me, and I could deal with all of that later. But right now, this was not about me. I took that deep breath and stepped tentatively into room 4007. Josh's eyes instantly met mine, whisking the breath right out of me. I was aware of the machines, the beeping of the heart monitor, the strange twitching lines on the screen, the dripping W. But for a moment, just one moment, all I could see were those eyes. The relief, the anguish, the longing, the fear. Everything I felt was right there in his eyes. He knew. He understood. But then he broke eye contact, and I dropped back to reality. Reality, where Ivy Slade lay on a hospital bed, unconscious and pale, her eyelids appearing purple under the fluorescent lights. Tubes and wires and sensors were stuck to her temples and wrists, and her black hair was shoved back from her face in a haphazard, unparted way that she would have loathed if she could have seen it. The white hospital sheets were tightly tucked in all around her, giving her the look of a half-wrapped mummy. Only her arms were free, and Josh was holding her hand. Her delicate, seemingly lifeless hand. My throat went completely dry. Why hadn't she stayed outside like the police had told her to do? Why had she run back into the solarium? In all the panic, I hadn't even realized that she had come up behind me. She didn't have to be there. Didn't have to come with me to confront Sabine. I had even told her not to come along. But she obviously was worried about me in my one-track state of mind. That track being the express train to confrontation with a homicidal maniac. It was my fault that she was here. All my fault. "Is she going to be okay?" I whispered. "Please say yes. Please, please say yes." I wasn't sure I could handle another death, another funeral, another goodbye. I wasn't sure if any of us could handle it. "They think so," Josh replied. He looked hopefully over at her. The bullet went through her upper shoulder and just missed her lung. If it had been half an inch lower. She lost a lot of blood, though, which is why she's unconscious right now. But, yeah, they expect her to make a full recovery. My eyes misted over as a crushing weight was lifted from my shoulders. She was going to be okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ivy and I had just started to become friends. If it weren't for her, I may have never figured out that it was Sabine who was after me. That Sabine was the person who had killed Cheyenne Martin and had tried to make me believe it was my fault. If it weren't for Ivy, I might have gone to Kiran's party with Sabine and ended up shot dead in an alley in Boston somewhere. Who knew what the details of the girls' plan had been? It seemed that as long as it had ended with me dead, Sabine would have deemed it a success. Josh placed Ivy's hand on the bed next to her hip and slowly got up to usher me out the door. As we left the room, I turned to him, prepared to be a good friend, a supportive friend and nothing more. To ask the right questions, the questions that Noelle Lang and Rose Sakowitz and all the other people down in the waiting room wanted me to ask. But before I could even open my mouth, I was in his arms. "I thought she was going to kill you," he said breathlessly. Surprised tears jumped to my eyes. I savored the familiar strength of his arms, the crisp scent of his shampoo. I clung to him, gripping the smooth fabric of his Oxford shirt like it was a life vest and I was about to go under. "I can't believe what you did," I said as a tear spilled down my cheek. "Lunging for the gun like that." I forced myself to pull back so I could look into his eyes. "When you hit the floor, I thought you were dead." Josh placed his hands on either side of my face and looked at me as if he was trying to reassure himself that I was actually there. "I didn't even think. You were frozen and there was a gun pointing at you and I didn't even think. It was either throw you down or go for the gun, and I guess I was closer to the gun, so I just did it." "You saved my life," I said.